It appears like we have been officially live for 4 seconds, and we're just waiting for a few people to show up. So if you're watching this at a later date, we just want to welcome you to Children Arise, and we're going live with Andrew Banman and Peter Stell. And ultimately, we just want to welcome you to the event today. And we got somebody who says, hey, guys, if you have any questions, I'll just quickly frame it here. We got 3 people on with us, so we're going to get started. If you are listening to us live, can you just give me a thumbs up? Or if you can hear us loud and clear, maybe Andrew and Peter, just say your name so they can hear all the mics as well. We got a few people on with us now.
Yep. Hi, folks. It's Andrew.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Peter here.
Awesome. Okay, and we got Peter. So if you are, can you just comment in there to let us know? Hi, Andrew and team. Oh, hey, Trish. Hey, Trish, can you hear us out there? Can you just let us know loud and clear? Awesome. Thanks so much. Okay,
Yay,
so
Trish.
We are going to go live. You are on a virtual mission trip with Children Arise, and we just want to thank you for taking the time out of your evening to be here with us. It's a blessing for sure. My name is Adam Price. If you don't know, I've been friends with Andrew for many years. This is the second one I think we've done together. And that one went good. Oh, we already got a thumbs up. Hey, look at that. So if you have any questions for either Andrew or Peter, please feel free to post them. And if it's relevant to the context in which we're talking, then I'll jump in and fire it to those guys on your behalf. So don't hesitate to post a comment or a question, and we'll tackle that for you. We don't expect to be much more than 30 minutes tonight, maybe 40 if we go a little bit longer, but that's more or less kind of the framework in which we're working with. So like I said, my name is Adam Price, and Andrew, I'm more or less just a dude that loves Andrew and Children Arise and what they mean. I don't have any more special credentials than that. But Andrew, why don't you go ahead, and then Peter, why don't you introduce yourself as well?
Great. Thanks, Adam. My name is Andrew Banman. I'm with Children Arise, and I've been in Africa for about 8 years living, and I was going to Africa to work before that on an annual basis. And Children Arise is a organization that believes that every child deserves the opportunity to thrive. And we work in the slums of Kampala, as well as we're working on some education projects. And we're just really pleased that you could be with us tonight.
Peter.
Yeah, thanks so much. Great to be with you. My name's Peter Stell. I'm married to my beautiful Ugandan wife, Sophia. Together we have one wonderful daughter called Johanna. I've also lived in Uganda about the same amount of time as Andrew. And just this year connected with, we've been loosely connected for about 10 years with Andrew. I've been friends, but this year we started working together. And so I'm just really excited about Children Arise. My heart beats to the same drum as Andrew's. And yeah, just really excited about what we're doing.
And you're in Uganda right now, and it's just after 5 there. Is that correct? Or just after 6?
That is correct.
In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning. So he's an early riser, and Andrew is actually in Victoria right now. So let's just get right into it. Andrew, I'm going to post this question for you. So we're on a virtual mission trip. We're going to explain, Peter and Andrew are going to explain kind of the heart of what they've seen as boots on the ground, and just kind of the heartache that's associated with that, and also kind of the restoration process that they've seen that I've heard firsthand. And maybe if you're on Compassion Hive, you've heard as well. But Andrew, maybe let's just start off with the question, the challenges that face families, in Uganda and Kosovo, where you're specifically at, that can lead to abandonment. Maybe if you don't mind sharing those challenges right off the bat here as we get into this.
Yeah, it's really hard, and I'm glad you asked that question, because it's really hard for people to understand how little Hawa here on the screen, how does Hawa get abandoned? How does a parent or two parents just decide to abandon their kids on the street of Kosovo? And just to set the stage here, Kosovo is essentially referred to as a slum locally. That's what the locals call it. It's small brick, wood, or tin buildings, dirt spaces, shared latrines, and Little Hawa here that you're looking at, she was abandoned by her mom along with her. So she's 6, and her 2-year-old daughter was with her. And Hawa was sick. She'd been, kind of abandoned, and she was in trouble. And her 2-year-old daughter raised the alarm, and we engaged with them. And at that point, you're talking about a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old who are, they have no parent. They've been on the street. Obviously you have to do something. You can't just walk away from that situation. And when you rationalize what it takes, what are the circumstances by which somebody would abandon this beautiful little girl? It's hard to fathom at first, but here's how that plays out. It's actually understandable, and it's hard to fathom. But I don't think often people in Canada or perhaps in the UK have a sense of the level or depth of poverty that can take place in a third world country. These mothers have been abandoned often, but almost all the time abandoned by their husbands a number of months or years earlier, and they're struggling to find some work to feed their family. They're doing their best, and at some point it all goes wrong. And with the last 2 years with COVID, we've just seen a lot of families just have their work snatched away from them because they're in a lockdown and they're not able to go and do things. And so what happens is they begin to starve. This family begins to starve, and the kids are hungry. They haven't eaten in days, and then it's a week, and all of a sudden mom has a terrible decision. And what's going through her head at that time is, if I stay with my children, nobody will help us because I should be earning and paying for my family. But if I go, then somebody may be merciful on my children. And the matter of truth is that is the truth. If mother stays, people are going to continue to expect that she finds some way to feed those families. When she leaves, somebody like Children Arise or even a neighbor will reach out to those children and try and help them. So, whilst it's hard to understand how that could happen, and it's easy, actually, I fight every time I interview a new mother. I fight with inside with like, how could you have walked away from your kids? But it's actually more real than we see, and it's just about the desperation, poverty, and lack of hope that they have. They don't really want to abandon their kids. I haven't met any mother that wanted to abandon their kids. I've met one or two that weren't able to make a go of a family, but most of them want to work.
So what happens, I guess the question I'd have, the first one I had was around, the kind of, how could they abandon it? But you unpack that in the context of, their hands are tied. There's really no other option, in that scenario until somebody comes along, and it's tragic and heartbreaking. And then, but then there's that separation, and then you have these kids, and like, how do they survive? Like, how do these young kids survive on the streets in Kosovo? It just seems like such an unrealistic environment. Where
it is,
could you just unpack that for the audience? It's just
it's pretty untenable life, and all I can tell you is what I actually see. I don't know how they're surviving or whether they're surviving. The emotional trauma is something that I don't totally understand yet. I believe these kids are pretty traumatized. I also believe that a number of them may have been abused, and we've seen those kinds of worries in several of these children. When the mother is gone and they're abandoned, frequently they're left in the home where the mother, she may be three months behind on the rent, but the landlord hasn't kicked them out yet. And during COVID lockdown, they weren't allowed, the landlords weren't allowed to just boot the kids out. So the kids are living there. They have some shelter. Not every family had shelter, but most of them did. And what happens then is the neighborhood kicks in. So, neighbors will see that these kids are starving, and they will give them some scraps from, a meal that they've had that night. And the kids will subsist on whatever they can. Usually the oldest child has got enough wherewithal to, help the other ones dress and sweep the house and that kind of thing. So they function within that house. But I've only seen once or twice where the children have gone to work. I'm aware of one family where the boys started collecting recycling and that kind of thing, and then they could earn a little bit of money to pay for food. But it's a pretty desperate situation. And some of these kids, like I know one that we talked about in the Compassion Hive, a little girl named Winnie. She was 13. She was, she had, at age 13, she had been 13 months by herself with her 3 little siblings. And it's pretty unfathomable what has happened there. And there's definitely some things going on emotionally in Winnie that point to, the fact that maybe something traumatic happened to her while she was alone. But they're definitely prey for people. The 3 kids that you had on the screen a minute ago are a new family we're working with, and they're abandoned in a community that's flooding, or in an area in our community that's flooding. And there's a young boy, maybe 13, 14, a few doors away, who has helped them with, a pancake here and a little bit of corn there. And that is great. And his agenda may be above board, but it's also highly likely that agenda could change and these kids could be vulnerable to some kind of abuse. So it's a pretty scary time for these kids.
Yeah, crises, for sure. And to walk the streets and to see that, I mean, it's just mind-boggling. And that's why I'm just, here, with you guys. And that's why there's people watching this, is because, the question is, what can we do in a minute, Peter, I'm going to ask you kind of how Arise works with children to restore the family. But before we do that, we have a quick video. Now, we've had a bit of tech problems, but I think Mr. Andrew Banman has it figured out. So do you want to set up this video really quick, Andrew? And then I'll play it here.
I think it's ready to go right now.
No, I mean, like, just the content of the video.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
The video speak. All right. Yeah. So this is actually Winnie's sister, Sandra. And so this is a group of 4 kids. Their mother was away. Sandra's sister, Winnie, took care of Sandra and her 2 younger siblings for 13 months. And I sent somebody out with a camera recently to ask Sandra, what did that feel like? Like, what was going through your mind when your mom was gone? And you can just imagine the mom goes, and mom doesn't say, I'm leaving you, goodbye, I'm going to be over here in the village. She just disappears. Wow. And because she doesn't want to face her kids and say, I'm leaving you. And first of all, a few days go by and not too big a deal. Then maybe a week goes by and okay, I don't know what's going on with mom. But after a few months, they're starting to realize that, where is mom even coming back? And so this is just Sandra voicing her thoughts.
Okay, I'll see if we can't.
Name is Namogambe Sandra. I have 3 siblings: Ndangano Winnie, Alex, and Gift. I felt so bad when our mother abandoned us, and when my siblings used to ask me where our mother is, I used to lie to them that she had gone to the shop. We were filled with a lot of fear to stay in the house, anxiety, and also what we were to eat in the next day. I had hope that my mother will come back, but she took a year without coming back. We used to stay at our landlord's place, where we used to stay, eat, drink, and sleep. It reached a time where my siblings and I had to ask ourselves, will our mother return back to us? When my mother came back, I felt so happy and started to eat of the food that our mother used to cook for us. We were so happy. And my siblings used to tell me that I used to lie to them. And also asked our mother where she had gone. We felt so happy. All things changed. We eat, drink, and we sleep well rather than the former days. where my siblings would not sleep without because of missing our mother. I felt so happy that now we are able to see our mother at home and taking care of us. We were so glad that now we were also able to eat any food we want from our mother. We thank Children Arise for helping us and enabling our mother to start a business that she is now able to pay our school fees. Thank you, Children Arise, and may God bless you.
So, Peter, I think your mic's muted there, but if you just want to, there you go. Awesome. I'm going to throw this one your way, Peter. So, Andrew unpacked at the beginning of this, the situation that when you find these kids, and then, Sandra kind of told her story of the mother coming back into the home. And how does Arise work with the children to actually restore the family?
Thanks. That's a great question. I just want to pick up on the video. It was a beautiful story, and these kids they just want what any other kids want. They want to be loved, and they want their mum home. They want to eat their mum's food, and so we really believe that bringing the mum back is the first step, is the key in sort of bringing the family back, bringing the functioning family back together. So what do we do when the alarm bells ring that there is a situation in the community? Our team responds. We have a team that goes into the community. We have a social worker, and she goes in, and we just want to find out what happened, first of all. And so we try to hear from the kids themselves, from the neighbors, what happened. Someone saw something, someone heard something, and we try to trace the mother. Where could she be? A phone number is gold, and if someone is on the other end of that phone, then that's even better. And so when we reach out to the mother, we also hear from her. We just want to find out, because every situation is unique, every story is different. But it sort of ends up in the same way that the mother has left, and we just try to figure out and talk to the mother and encourage her to come back and be with her kids, because that's the first step. And then we really work with the mother as much as possible and there you go. We take the mother and we take the family on this journey that we kind of named Family Reset, and that's where it starts. And so I don't know, Andrew, do you want to pick up where we go next?
So the Family Reset is basically these 5 steps, and I'll go through them really quickly, but we're really covering today the primary steps we're talking about today are reuniting the mother. And so we actually send somebody out to find the mother, and quite often that's a bit of a track. They've got to go into the bush and maybe find a grandma, and then has the grandma seen mom and where she's going. And so there's this process we go through to reunite the mom. And that includes a lot of dialogue with the mom, because usually they think the very first thing the mother thinks is that we're going to bring them to the police because they abandoned their children. And so there's a process of creating some level of rapport with the lady. Once the kids are reunited, we essentially, this is a system that we've created. And so we know that once we believe this mother wants to work for a living, we have some do's and don'ts, like are some things that we can do and can't do. We work with ladies in Kosovo. We're not working with ladies all over the country. So if they want to relocate somewhere, we might help them get there, but we're not going to be supporting them. It's just about impossible for us to support people all over the country. We work with people because there's a mentoring aspect, and because we're attempting to build relationship and help guide these people. They really need to be where we are in order for that to be facilitated. And So what we end up doing once we've agreed that this lady does in fact want to work, and that she's capable of working and willing to come back with her kids, then we reunite her with the kids. We ante up for a few months of rent and a month of food in order to get them started, and we give them a small amount of capital. So food and rent in a month. The goal right away is to create a business that can give them 250,000 shillings each month. Now, 250,000 shillings in Canadian dollars is about $98. That's what it costs them to live by the time they've paid their rent, their food, and I think that leaves them like about $8 for some kind of medical or a phone or something like that. So the first step,
it's roughly how much Canadian dollars? So that led it into my next question there. Explain the cost of to live in Kosovo and this kind of engagement. In Canadian dollars, it's approximately how much? Sorry,
about $98 to live. It's about 150,000 shillings for a 10 by 10 brick box with a door and a dirt floor or a cement floor if you're lucky, and then you need about 150,000 for food for a month for a family with kids, and that leaves them about 20,000 for some kind of extra. So 250,000 shillings is about $98 Canadian. And our first goal is to start a business with this lady, and we start a business really quick. So within days of them being home, we're funding about, on average, about 300,000 worth of capital money. So that's a little over $100.
Yeah.
And that is going to start them selling door to door with goods, clothes, or buckets, or whatever. Or maybe we've got one lady who does baking, makes samosas, and walks around the town selling samosas. We've got a couple of ladies who do other things. We've got one that does a roadside stand and sells vegetables. So, it's individualized to what they're able to do and what they think they can make money on. And we kind of supervise, yes, it's believable that you can make 250,000 on that each month. And within days of them home and finished meeting with us, they're put to work. And in the first month, we'd expect them to start generating money. By the third month, we believe they should be able to make 250,000 shillings in order to support their family. And we go through just a period of time at that point where we're teaching them business. We actually have a business course we run them through, and we're mentoring them in their particular business, perhaps getting them business specific training. And we're getting them. So I don't know whether you guys can understand this, but when you've failed in life so completely as these kids have, or these ladies have, it takes a while for you to be confident that you can do this. And so there is a number of months where we're really just looking for confidence in this family, that the kids believe we can survive and thrive, where the mama believes she can go out each month and make the money she needs to reliably have 250,000 every month.
So yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, once that happens, we move into a new phase, and we'll be talking about that on the 28th. But that new phase will grow things.
So it's basically, the time frame from, once you're able to find the mother and bring her back into the home. What's the time frame between you've reunited the family? So if we take a look at, ultimately I'll just pull up this chart here, just one sec here, this graphic. So they're reunited in the stabilization phase, and then the strengthening. What's the time frame that you have before they start to earn a living and that confidence factor kicks in? Like, what have you seen? Like, what is the spectrum in terms of that?
Yeah, so in the reunited phase, the reuniting of the mother and getting them going is a few weeks. We're into stabilization there. We're into stabilizing that family within a few months. Right. And you're ready. You see a stable family that's confident in the fact that they can survive and pay their bills on this business. I would say that's a 6 or 8 month process.
6 or 8 months. So if you're watching right now, and and Andrew, unfortunately, and Peter, you can attest to this as well, is like, these stories definitely aren't limited to just the ones we've shared, unfortunately. And it really comes down to resources and being able to equip Arise with the opportunities, like you heard from Sandra, where they are reuniting the mother. I mean, I just couldn't imagine what that feels like. So if you're wondering how to partner, I'm just going to let you know, you can. It's in if you're watching, which you are watching on Facebook, it's in the link there. You can click that. Also, you can go to childrenarise.org/partnership. Maybe Andrew, just speak really quickly before I have another question for Peter here about where those funds would go almost instantly.
Yeah, so I'm glad you gave me that opportunity, because I want to say that it's more than just giving them food and paying their rent and giving them capital. Even one of the things that we started to realize is there's some trauma going on here in these families, and we've begun hosting some workshops and getting some professional help with the kids to identify if there are any problems that need to be addressed. We're also looking at ways that kids can be engaged, especially the older ones, the ones that have carried the load, like Winnie. For 13 months, she was mom. And so the older group of kids, which are 6 or 7 kids, we have a group for them on a regular basis. We've done some training, or we're working on some training. And so there are the setup costs to get a family started. Also, we have statistically seen that about 50% of the people are going to fail at some point and need a bit of a prop up. So there's a financial add to the process there. And that's not abnormal. Entrepreneurs in a first world fail on a regular basis. So to see these ladies who are trying to start a business trip and fall and need to be helped up, that's part of the mentoring process, and we anticipate some financial cost to that. So between all of these things, the absolute truth, Adam, which I think we're trying to get to here, is it costs about $2,500 a month Canadian in order to operate the Arise Community Program. And currently we have 10 families
Wow.
inside the process.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So if that's something that, you want to be a part of, and, again, it's childrenarise.org/partnership. The link's in this Facebook post as well, right on the live itself. And so, like you've just heard, the resources will go directly to Arise and directly to these stories. Like, there's no kind of navigating it elsewhere. It's to go, and it's to help these families and these kids that, so they can be reunited with their mom, and then and on top of that, to have their mom come back into the household and start to re-engage the family. It's powerful, and I know you guys have seen that. Peter, I have a question for you. Just before we kind of wrap it up, we're about 2 minutes from being our 30-minute window here. Maybe the mentoring and training offered to families to help them become solid. Maybe to speak into the training and the mentoring side of things as we kind of wrap it up here tonight.
Sure. As I said before, as soon as we engage with a family, we start on a journey with them, and we do stand with them side by side. We're there, always available. We have a team. Andrew and myself, and then we have 2 others. We have a couple of social workers, and they take care of the family in terms of they get to know about the welfare needs, their business needs, and our two workers, who are obviously locals and understand the language a lot better than Andrew and I do. They engage directly. They're there constantly to advise and to encourage, and we pray for our families. We really do. So we stand side by side with them. We're all, talking about the timing of these things, because every situation and every family is unique. It's different for every family, but and sometimes we have to go a bit longer. We have to, restart a phase. But we're there to build resilience into the family, so that when crises come, like crises have come in the past, it doesn't lead to abandonment. They're able to stand on their own 2 feet, and that's our goal. That's our ultimate goal. And the important thing to note is that with all the support we give, we don't give handouts, we don't think of them as handouts, rather hand up. We give them a hand up, not a handout. And we make that very clear from the first kind of interactions that we have, that we're trying to help them stand on their own 2 feet. That's what we're trying to do.
Peter, can I jump in there for a sec?
Sure.
I think that you've hit a really important point there, is that we're not really attempting to do handouts. I mean, yes, we're investing some money in these families, and that has to happen. Each of these situations moves from relief to development. So, relief is where there's an emergency and somebody's going to die if we don't help. Mm-hmm. Development is where you're building for tomorrow, right? And you're building that stability. Every one of these situations begins with relief. And we have to invest in this family in order to get them up on their feet. But later in the process, which we'll talk about on the 28th, we're actually moving from relief to microloans. So by the time they get to stability, once they're stable, we're going to start to invest in this family with a microloan in order to grow their capacity.
Awesome.
So it's not all a handout.
So if you are feeling compelled, by all means, resources definitely are getting put into the right hands. And again, it's childrenrise.org/partnership, or just click the link. It'd be greatly appreciated for those of you who are watching at home. And in terms of kind of where this is headed, not next week, but the week after that, Andrew and Peter are going to have another live where they talk about kind of the launch pad, where a family goes on its own, and kind of, potentially how they step out of Arise Care, and, they're at that thriving stage. That's the goal. It's like, you see these crises, you see this situation where you see these kids in the streets. Like if you're with us for our previous live as well, that we did back in December. And you kind of get a grid for just the sheer lack of opportunity that it is. But then to have Arise come alongside these kids, and I've heard the stories of literally trying to Peter, when you said if there's somebody at the other end of that phone, to make it even better, like you're actually calling people, trying to figure out where mom is. And no, we're not here to hurt. We're here to help, and we're here to restore, and we're here to see you thrive. And for the mom to come back into the family, for the kids to put their arm around their mom and just probably weep for days. I can't imagine what that must feel like. But then, the journey's just beginning in terms of, getting them on their feet and getting to the place where that's not repeated again. And so, for us, if I know our family, we love helping you guys out when we can, and we do that. And I would just encourage those who are watching as well. It's like, the other end of the opportunity to give is just invested and sown richly into the lives of kids. It's really what it is. And so on next, not this upcoming Thursday, but the next Thursday, October 28th at 7 p.m., Andrew and Peter are going to be here again, and they are going to talk about kind of the launch pad, and where Children Rise, is able to just release a thriving family, and bless them and pray for them, and and engage other families as the needs come. So, Peter, any last words before we wrap it up here?
Oh, bless you guys! Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm so grateful, and I'm just really looking forward to sharing more next time.
Sounds good. Andrew, go ahead there, buddy. You got the hammer.
Yeah. Can't wait to do the 28th, because the story here is not a bad one. We don't end on a bad note here at all. We're starting out in a tragic situation, but it's got a happy ending. And so tune in on the 28th to hear how these families move from being able to just barely pay their rent and their food to actually being in a situation where the kids can begin to thrive. And so we want to tell that part of the story. And Adam, thanks for hosting this, and
Yeah, for
everybody,
sure.
just thanks for taking time out of your evening to be with us. We really appreciate it. Bless you.
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for showing up as well, Andrew and Peter, and of course, people in the Compassion Hive Facebook group. Feel free to share that with people that you might think want to engage in 2 weeks, and maybe hear more from, definitely hear more from Andrew and Peter, and the second side of this story, which is really, really compelling for sure. So thanks for joining us again, and you guys have a wonderful night. I think I'm going to sign off with one last statement. 2 weeks from now, you can check it out. All right, Facebook, thanks so much. Peter and Andrew, thanks again, guys, and we will see you guys soon. All right,
Bye for now.
take care.